Did you know that New York holds more fresh surface water than almost any other state in America? That some of its mountains are made of rock older than life itself, formed more than 1 billion years before the first trees ever grew? And that beneath its cities, highways, and skyscrapers lie underground rivers, vast caverns, ancient salt seas, and even flames that burn straight out of the earth? New York is not just skyscrapers and subways, it is glaciers that crushed mountains flat, ancient seas that left fossils on hilltops, volcanic rock frozen in time, and landscapes shaped long before humans ever existed, or even imagined cities. Today, you're about to discover 25 incredible geography facts about the state of New York, facts so powerful they will completely change the way you see the Empire State. Fact number 25, the immense size of Adirondack Park. When most people hear the word park, they imagine a small protected area, a few trails, some picnic tables, maybe a parking lot. But Adirondack Park completely shatters that idea. This park covers over 6 million acres, making it larger than Yellowstone, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, Glacier, and Great Smoky Mountains national parks combined. To truly understand its scale, imagine an area nearly the size of the entire state of Vermont, and then imagine it mostly covered in forest, lakes, and mountains. What makes the Adirondacks even more unusual is that it's not entirely public land. Instead, it's a complex patchwork of wilderness, towns, and private forests, all tied together by a single rule written into the New York Constitution: this land must remain forever wild. The park exists primarily to protect New York's water supply. Its forests act like a massive natural sponge, filtering and storing water for millions of people. Within it are thousands of lakes, hundreds of mountains, and forests so vast that you could wander for days without seeing another human being. This is not just a park, it is the green heart of the Northeast. Fact number 24, New York quietly borders Rhode Island. Ask almost anyone which states border New York, and you'll hear the usual answers: New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont. Almost no one mentions Rhode Island, but technically, New York and Rhode Island are neighbors. This border doesn't exist on land. It exists out at sea in the waters of Block Island Sound, near the eastern tip of Long Island. If you stand at Montauk Point and stare out across the Atlantic, you're looking toward an invisible line where New York's jurisdiction quietly meets Rhode Island's. There are no signs, no fences, no markers, just a legal boundary drawn across open water. It's one of those strange geographical facts that reminds us that borders don't always follow land. Sometimes they exist only on maps, enforced by law and tradition rather than physical features. Fact number 22. Lake Ontario is deeper than you think. Lake Ontario may be the smallest of the Great Lakes by surface area, but what it lacks in width, it makes up for in depth. At its deepest point, Lake Ontario plunges 802 feet. That's deep enough to stack the Eiffel Tower inside it and still have water covering the top. Because Lake Ontario sits at the bottom of the Great Lakes system, it acts like a massive collection basin. Water from Lakes Superior, Michigan, Huron, and Erie all eventually flow into it before they make their way to the Atlantic through the St. Lawrence River. Stand on its shoreline in places like Rochester or Oswego, and the horizon simply disappears. The lake stretches so far that it feels less like a lake and more like an inland sea, cold, vast, and endlessly blue. Fact number 22. Mount Marcy has Arctic tundra. At the summit of Mount Marcy, New York's highest peak, at 5,344 feet, the environment transforms completely. Trees vanish, the soil thins, the wind becomes relentless. At the very top lies a fragile alpine tundra ecosystem, similar to what you'd expect to see in northern Canada or Greenland, not New York. The plants that survive here are living fossils from the last ice age. They grow low to the ground, clinging to cracks in bare rock, enduring freezing temperatures and hurricane-force winds. Only about 85 acres of this ecosystem remain in the entire state. One careless step can destroy plants that take decades to recover. Up here, New York briefly becomes the Arctic. Fact number 21. The Finger Lakes are glacial scars.
From above, the Finger Lakes region looks like someone dragged giant fingers through the earth. That image isn't far from the truth. These long, narrow lakes were carved by massive glaciers that slowly gouged deep valleys into the land before melting away. Seneca Lake alone reaches 618 feet deep, deeper than many coastal oceans. When the glaciers retreated, they left behind these flooded scars, now some of the most beautiful lakes in North America. Today, the deep water acts like a natural temperature regulator, absorbing heat in summer and releasing it in winter. This creates a unique microclimate that allows vineyards and wineries to thrive, an unexpected gift left behind by ancient ice. Fact number: Liberty Island belongs to 2 states. The Statue of Liberty is one of the most recognizable symbols on Earth, forever tied to New York City. But the island it stands on lives in a legal gray zone. Liberty Island is officially part of New York State, yet it is completely surrounded by waters claimed by New Jersey. In 1998, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that while the original natural island belongs to New York, all the land added later through human-made landfill actually belongs to New Jersey. This created a bizarre situation where a single small island is legally split between 2 states, depending on which part of the ground you're standing on. Fact number 19. Letchworth is the Grand Canyon of the East. In western New York, the Genesee River carved a massive gorge up to 600 feet deep, creating Letchworth State Park. Often called the Grand Canyon of the East, this landscape feels completely out of place in the Northeast. Towering cliffs, roaring waterfalls, and exposed rock layers stretch for miles. 3 major waterfalls crash through the gorge, revealing layers of shale and limestone that tell the story of an ancient sea that once covered the region. It's proof that New York's geography isn't gentle or subtle. It can be dramatic and overwhelming.
Fact number 18. Niagara Falls is not the tallest waterfall. Niagara Falls may be the most famous waterfall in the world, but it's not the tallest in New York. That title belongs to Tauganic Falls, which plunges 215 feet straight down, over 30 feet taller than Niagara's American Falls. The surrounding gorge walls rise even higher, forming a massive natural amphitheater carved by rushing water over thousands of years. Standing in its base, the water seems to fall in slow motion, dropping from a height that feels almost unreal.
Fact number 17. New York has nearly 8,000 lakes. Thanks to its glacial past, New York is absolutely filled with water. The state contains approximately 7,850 lakes, ponds, and reservoirs, from massive Great Lakes to tiny, unnamed pools hidden deep in forests. These water bodies shaped everything from Native American trade routes to the Erie Canal, which later connected the Atlantic Ocean to the heart of the continent. Water isn't just part of New York's geography, it's the reason the state became powerful in the first place.
Fact number 16. New York's coastline is longer than you expect. Despite not being thought of as a coastal state, New York has over 500 miles of coastline. This includes the Atlantic Ocean, Long Island Sound, and the shores of Lakes Erie and Ontario. This access to water gave New York City one of the best natural harbors in the world, a geographic advantage that helped turn it into a global financial capital. Fact number 15. Long Island is legally a peninsula. Despite the name, Long Island is legally considered a peninsula, not an island. In a 1985 Supreme Court ruling, the court decided that Long Island is connected closely enough to the mainland that it doesn't count as a true island for maritime law purposes. Geography says one thing, law says another. Fact number 14. The Hudson River flows both ways. For much of its length, the Hudson River is not a river at all, it's a tidal estuary. From New York City all the way to Troy, ocean tides push saltwater upstream, causing the river to reverse direction twice every day.
The river's original name translates to the river that flows both ways, and watching it move upstream feels like witnessing nature break its own rules. Fact number 13. NYC's highest natural point is on Staten Island. Todd Hill rises 410 feet above sea level, making it the highest natural point along the Atlantic coastal plain from Florida to New England. It was formed by glacial debris and now sits quietly in a residential neighborhood, far from the city's towering skyline.
Fact number 12. Manhattan is still growing. Much of Manhattan didn't exist just a few centuries ago. Areas like Battery Park City were built entirely on landfill, created by dumping dirt, rock, and even old ships into the river. When you walk through Lower Manhattan, you're standing on land that humans literally pulled out of the water.
Fact number 11. The Palisades are ancient volcanic rock. The Palisades are towering cliffs formed by magma that cooled underground 200 million years ago as the supercontinent Pangaea began to split apart. These dark volcanic walls stand frozen in time, watching modern cities rise across the river. Fact number 10. The Erie Canal rewired America. The Erie Canal carved a water highway through New York, connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. It bypassed the Appalachian Mountains and transformed the state into the gateway of American trade. One canal changed the destiny of an entire continent.
Fact number 9. The Catskills are not true mountains formed by tectonic collisions. Instead, they're an eroded plateau, slowly carved by rivers and weather over millions of years. Even more surprising, fossils found near their peaks, including shells and marine life, prove this land was once beneath an ancient sea, long before it ever rose above the surface. Fact number 8. New York has an eternal flame. Behind a small waterfall in Chestnut Ridge Park burns a natural flame fueled by gas seeping up from deep underground. Fire and water exist together in the same place, a rare geological balance that feels almost supernatural, as if the Earth itself is quietly alive. Fact number 7. New York has ice caves in summer. In Minnewaska State Park, ice can survive deep into the summer months, hidden inside shaded rock crevices. Cold winter air becomes trapped underground, creating a natural refrigerator that defies the heat, hidden in plain sight. Fact number 6. New York has a triple continental divide. In Allegheny County, a single drop of rain can end up flowing to the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, or the Chesapeake Bay. A difference of just inches determines its path, proving that one quiet hill connects half a continent's water systems. Fact number 5. Thousand Islands are actually 1,864. To officially count as an island, land must stay above water all year and support at least one tree. By that rule, the famous Thousand Islands region contains 1,864 true islands scattered across the St. Lawrence River, many just large enough for a single home or lighthouse. Fact number 4. New York has massive underground salt mines. Beneath western New York lie enormous salt deposits formed when ancient seas evaporated hundreds of millions of years ago. These layers are so vast that workers operate trucks and machinery deep beneath the surface, hidden below modern cities. Fact number 3. North Brother Island is a forgotten world. Once home to a hospital, North Brother Island now stands abandoned. Trees grow through broken walls, buildings collapse into forests, and wildlife thrives, a haunting example of nature reclaiming the city. Fact number 2. How caverns hide a subterranean river. Deep beneath New York's surface lies a hidden limestone world. Howe Caverns contain silent lakes, towering rock formations, and flowing underground rivers,
carved slowly by water over thousands of years. Fact number 1. The geographic heart of New York. The true center of New York is not in a city. It lies quietly in Eaton, Madison County, far from skyscrapers, a calm, open landscape marking the geographic heart of the Empire State. Which of these facts surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more hidden geography and keep exploring the forces that shaped our world.